Hello and thank you for joining us, and welcome today to our Adobe Creative Cloud webinar. Today we'll be joined by Luke from Byte Software Services and Iona from Adobe. So I'm now going to hand over to Luke from Byte.
Hello everybody, thanks for joining us this morning on our Adobe Creative Cloud webinar. I'm Luke Kiernan from Byte Software Services. I'm just going to run through to you about the Creative Cloud software, the licensing, how it benefits IT procurement and the creatives, and show you some pricing for Creative Cloud for Teams. So the first slide I want to go through is just how the Creative Cloud is licensed and the offerings that are available. It's worth noting that the only place to get the latest and greatest version of the Creative Suite software now is via Creative Cloud. So the offerings that are available that you'll notice going around are these four offerings here. The first one that's displayed, Creative Cloud for Individuals. You may see that on Adobe's website, on adobe.com, and that is only to be used for freelancers or people that are working at home that just want the latest and greatest version for their own personal use. So we won't be going through that today. Creative Cloud for Teams is the main one I'll be looking at today. It's a one-year subscription. There's no minimum entry fee, and you get storage, expert support, and updates to all your to all your applications throughout your agreement. You also get access to a brand new centralized admin console, which gives you access to manage your users. And you also get access to the Creative Cloud Packager tool, which allows you to package up the applications to deploy out to your users. Within the agreement, you can true up at any point. So any point throughout the year, you can add as many users as you wish, and all the pricing is prorated, and it ends, all your seats end on your 1 anniversary date. So they all co-terminate at the same time, making it much easier. And at the end of the subscription, you can decide if you want to true down also at that point, or true up, or stay on the same amount of licenses you have. The Creative Cloud for Enterprise, and that's a 3-year subscription. It's a $150,000 minimum entry fee. So you do get the expert support and the updates throughout. However, it's not up to speed with the Creative Cloud for Teams. So it's managed in exactly the same way as you are used to now. So with a serial key and managing your users with the access to Adobe's LWS site. Education and government customers can license under Creative Cloud for Teams or the Enterprise. However, there are specific agreements for both of those sectors. So if you're a government customer whose users are totally restricted to the internet, then you can license under the government scheme. And there is education agreements for, say, site licenses. Now, the Creative Cloud for Teams, the pricing currently, or the upgrade pricing that Adobe offers, standard is £38 per user per month. That's paid annually, so it would be up to £456 for the complete solution. So that includes every single one of your creative apps, all the updates, cloud storage, and all the additional benefits you get. And the single applications, so if you just want your users to be licensed, say, just for Photoshop, then you can do that, and that's purchased under a single app application, and that costs £171 per user per year. Currently, there is a discount running up until the end of this month, and if you can take advantage of that, it's well worth doing. It offers the complete solution at £362 per user per year, and that's on any seat that you purchase from now up until the end of this month. And what Adobe will also do is lock in that price on those seats that you purchased for the next year renewal. So as I said before, if you can take advantage of that, it's well worth doing. So if you compare these prices to what you're sort of used to on CS6 under CLP or TLP, then if you're going to be buying the Master Collection, which is close to the equivalent of the complete version of Creative Cloud, then you can see Master Collection is over £2,000, whereas the complete version of Creative Cloud is only £362 per user per year currently. So you're getting a few good years out of the latest and greatest version before you even reach the £2,000 limit under CS6. The lowest bundle, design standard, costs around just under £1,000, and as you can see, the complete version is still a lot cheaper. Photoshop under CS6 and CLP is £528, but under Creative Cloud it's £171. So as you can see, you're getting a lot of value for your money right there. And TLP is going to be a lot more expensive than the CLP prices. Moving forward, Adobe are planning to introduce more and more applications to this subscription model, Acrobat being one of them that's on the roadmap. There is no date for Acrobat to move in its own pure right, but as I said, they are looking to introduce more and more applications, and obviously we'll let our customers know when they do that. So what does Creative Cloud offer to your creative users over perpetual licensing? So as I've explained before, they get all the updates as they become available. So these applications will be updated on the fly. Whenever an application needs an update, it's pushed to the user and they can start using that feature straight away. And also if there becomes new applications to the Creative Cloud, and they get access to those without additional fees. Storage and sync facilities, they also get use of that, and this is an optional service which you can turn off. But each user gets up to 100 gigabytes worth of storage, and this allows them to sync their work that's locally stored to the cloud, allowing them to work wherever they are across the world on any device. They also get support, so this can be 2 half-hour sessions with an Adobe expert that can be pre-booked, and it can also be education on the new applications that they now have access to. They get access to publishing tools such as DPS, Typekit and Business Catalyst. So if you are looking into publishing digital applications, then this is a great tool to start doing so. So what does it offer to IT and procurement? IT get a central admin portal where they can see each individual user that's been assigned a seat, which is effectively a license, and that allows you to manage your users much easier. It also, under Creative Cloud for Teams, it also allows you to stay 100% compliant. You can't be non-compliant with Creative Cloud for Teams. And it allows you to easily reharvest your licenses if users leave. So if a user leaves within 6 months, you can revoke their ID and reharvest that license out to someone else very, very quickly. The Creative Cloud Packager tool, this allows IT admins to package up any number of different bundles of these applications. So your users are licensed for the complete suite, but they only need 5 of those applications. With the Creative Cloud Packager, you can do that very simply. And with the Packager tool, it also allows you to manage the updates that your users receive. So your users won't get notified of the updates, the IT administrators will, and then they can deploy a package of updates out separately. So that's what it offers to all of those different departments. I'm just going to pass you over to Iona, who's going to take you through the applications and show you a live demo of the new features within Creative Cloud.
Good stuff. So thanks very much for joining everybody. I just wanted to give you a little bit more background as to why Adobe's made this move to the Creative Cloud and to this subscription model, as well as showing you some of the latest features that have just been released into Photoshop particularly, and also a little quick sneak at Edge Animate as well, which is one of the products that's unique to the Creative Cloud. So at Adobe, we've of course recognised that today there's a real need for our users to be able to create and interact whilst they're on the move. And moving between these different computers and devices means that in order to get access to their assets and to set up the user environments and access to their settings has been a real issue in the past, and takes a lot of time to move to this machine and set up and work in the way that you're used to working on your other machines. We also know that teams are no longer confined to one office and effectively collaborate at a distance. And that's really, really important, whether that's with other colleagues within the company, within the same organisation, or with freelance organisations and other agencies. So to tackle these challenges in the past, creators have had to come up with a combination of different apps and services, things like Dropbox and email and instant message and USB stick sent in the post and all this kind of thing, because there just hasn't been a connected solution until Adobe launched the Creative Cloud. So the Creative Cloud brings all of your desktop apps as well as your assets and additional services like Business Catalyst, as Luke mentioned already, and Digital Publishing Suite, as well as Typekit web and now desktop integrated fonts together in one place. And it allows you to sync your settings, your palettes, your brushes, and your workspaces across these multiple machines. And the Creative Cloud also connects its members to all the benefits of being part of a wider creative community through services like Behance and also ProSite to enable them to create bespoke websites and publish and share their work in progress as well as their final projects. And actually, a lot of companies are now getting worldwide business through services like Behance and moving from a UK-based sales organisation and creative agency to, like I say, having worldwide creative projects. So here we can see a quick overview of what's already been added to the Creative Cloud offering since launch. And we've also just had a major design product update as well. Some of these features I'm going to be showing you in Photoshop in a second. And since the launch, we've actually updated something the equivalent of something every single week into the Creative Cloud. The first phase of the Creative Cloud provided all of the full suite of creative applications as a subscription, but more importantly, that launched the Creative Cloud as a platform for innovation. One of the core benefits of this platform is that you're always able to get something new. You no longer need to wait to get access to new features or products or services as we produce them and as we innovate, and we can actually deliver those directly very, very regularly, as you can see here, as drops and updates, either as full products or updates and brand new features to existing products. The value to customers, therefore, is huge, as you can see. You get access to all the tools and services and tools and services that they never had before. So, for example, your designers now have access to all of the video products as well. And this is really important because more and more agencies and individuals are having to cross-skill, are having to produce multi-platform content. And so they're able to extend their creativity in new directions, to learn new skills, and to also build their business. Prior to the launch of the Creative Cloud, the desktop apps were all branded CS6. That was the latest release. But with the release of the cloud, these products have all now been rebranded as CC, and this reflects their new connected form. The cloud brings 15 brand new applications, and there are hundreds of new updated features as part of that release as well. So, all of the apps are available in a full subscription. You can see here there's a huge number of all of the design, the web, the video tools. But also you can choose to have a single app subscription if you require. So let's just take a look at the difference between the two offerings. As you can see, there's a smaller amount of cloud storage available, 20 gigabytes as opposed to 100. But you still get all of the new features for that particular product as soon as it's available, the same billing and administration as with the complete package, as well as access to the packages for central deployment. You also still get access to Behance and Behance ProSite, and this is really important to our creators, particularly photographers who share a lot of work via that site. So Photoshop users, that's a real draw. You don't get access to the Digital Publishing Suite, and also you don't get access to host websites via Business Catalyst, although that is a paid service that you could then take up at a later date. You also don't get access to the Adobe Typekit library, which is actually now integrated into a lot of our desktop products like InDesign and Illustrator and Photoshop. So not only do you have web fonts available to work within your website designs, but you can also use them within the desktop tools. But like I say, you don't get that as part of the single app subscription. And you also don't get the 2 training sessions or support sessions that you get as part of the complete subscription. But it's a very good price point, and it's certainly, particularly for photographers, like I say, has been a really, really keen take-up on that. So let's debunk some of these myths that are around the Creative Cloud. The first one is the desktop apps run in the cloud in my browser. That's not true. You download the apps and install them as you would normally, or they are deployed to the user's desktop by administration, by IT. So you don't need to be connected to the internet in order to do that. There is a ping that happens every 30 days to check that you have got a subscription running, so you need to be able to have some access to that, unless you're part of a government enterprise deal or you have particular settings that restrict users from working and being connected online. I have to be constantly connected to use my app. No, as I mentioned, you just need to be able to have this ping that basically justifies your subscription and says, yeah, you can carry on using them every month. I can't share my files if a client isn't a Creative Cloud member. That's not true. In fact, everybody can get a free Creative Cloud membership, which gives you 2 gigabytes of storage. And the benefit of doing that is that if you need to share a Photoshop file, for example, with a client who doesn't have Photoshop installed on their machine, what you can actually do is share that, or an InDesign file, an Illustrator file, in its native format. You can share that with the client, and they can preview it via the Creative Cloud interface. And all they do is create a free Adobe ID. That's all they need to do. And they can actually browse through layers within that document. They can browse through pages, through different tiles within the InDesign and Illustrator documents. And they can also leave messages, add comments, and share files back with you as well. So it's really, really useful collaboration and preview and sign-off workflow there. My IT department doesn't want to deploy updates and install versions automatically. That's not a problem. You've got control as IT department as and when you want to release to your company-wide users the updates as well as the new products. So you package them and deploy them as you would. I can't use it because the company don't allow file storage outside the firewall. That's not a problem. You don't have to store files in the Creative Cloud. IT can turn this functionality off. So with that, let me just show you some of the latest features that have come, particularly within Adobe Photoshop. We released just very, very recently, we had a drop of Photoshop, which released something called the Generator Engine. And the Generator Engine is an open source engine that basically gives access to the back-end workings of Photoshop. Now, this is really, really fantastic because it opens up the ability for the community to write their own plugins and to create some really, really interesting connections with Photoshop, where a lot of designs begin life. We had one particular company, a gaming company, who built a plugin for this really early on, which allows them to play this running game that they've created, but at the same time as it's being played live, they can change the designs and the textures and the elements from within Photoshop and see those updates instantly within the game. So it's really, really dynamic interaction. We've released 2 plugins as part of this. We've released one which enables the automatic generation of different image sizes and types and formats and resolutions from Photoshop without you having to go via the old method, which was to slice the document up, very painstaking job, and go through a file, say for web menus. I'm just going to show you that in action first of all very quickly, because it's really a massive hitter with our community. So if I just show you this particular document here, it's got a logo up in this top left-hand corner. This is actually a design for a website, which we will see in Edge Reflow in 1 second. It's just one long scrolling page at the moment. We have this element here, and this is particularly aimed at people who are having to produce content from multiple screen sizes and devices, different resolutions of screen, and for responsive websites, but also anybody who's really needing to export any single image from Photoshop at any point, which is kind of what people tend to have to do on a regular basis. And you can start using this for that purpose, and it's really great. I use it all the time. So if I just navigate down through to this header section and the vertical nav here, I've got this element called logo, if you can see, and there it is. And in order to create an export of this, all I need to do is literally put a .png or I could put JPG after it. If I put a comma in here, I can show you some other options I've got here as well. I'm going to choose to make also a 400 by 400 logo 2, we'll call it, .jpg. And after the JPG, I could put a figure from 1 to 10, which would state the quality, the resolution of that. And likewise with the PNG, I could pick a PNG 24, 432, etc. after it. And let's just do one more, which is, let's call it 50% logo 3.png. So I'll just expand that panel out. And let me just zoom in so you can see there. I've got standard logo. This will just be automatically 100%. This is going to be automatically 400 by 400 pixels as a JPEG, and this is going to be a 50% version of the PNG. And I could put inches or centimeters in here. I just need to specify. The one thing that you do need to do, of course, is to make sure that you've got the correct aspect ratio within here, because it will actually force it into a square if it's not already. Because I've specified 400 by 400. So I'm just also going to make sure I've got the folder. This is the document where it's saved at the moment in this folder, and I'm going to quickly kick off. Resize my screen again so we can properly see how quickly this happens. There we go, so there's the document now. And all I need to do now to kick the generator engine off is to say File, Generate, Image Asset. And what it's going to do, this is actually quite a big document, so it's going to look through every single layer and try and work out, there we go, try and work out where all those assets are which have got specifics applied to them. And we can now see that this is the original logo that's been created. This is the 400 by 400, and this is the 50% size of it. So that's done it all for me. The other really nice thing is that because this is a live connection that's happening all the time, if I come into this element here and do something like apply a color overlay to it and click OK, you'll see that instantaneously these images update. I don't have to do a single thing. So I always know that whoever's going to be making use of these assets is always going to have the most recent version of them. So really, really cool stuff. The other thing that I can do from here, once I've labeled my document as I need to, is to actually generate an Edge Reflow project. Now, I'm not going to do that with this particular document because I'm going to show you that happening from Edge Reflow. But this will actually create the project for Edge Reflow. And Edge Reflow is our design program for designers to enable them to have control over creating reflowable content and responsive web content. You can see here, this is the document that I've got in already for my Reflow project that's been created. And Edge Reflow, for those of you who are not familiar with it, enables you to put breakpoints along the top of the screen here for the different screen resolutions and width. So, for example, your vertical iPad or horizontal iPad, iPhone, etc., or Android equivalent. And then at these different breakpoints, you can make changes to the content and how it's laid out. So, for example, you can see here, this vertical navigation switches to a horizontal nav when it becomes a vertical iPad layout. So that's what Reflow enables you to do. There's plenty of tutorials online and also on my website, which I'll give you details to at the end if you want to see more about that. But what's really nice, if I can just move our little panel out the way here, you've also got this new Photoshop connectivity from within this page. And all I need to do in order to create a new page and within my Reflow project directly from Photoshop now is to jump over here and make sure I've got the page that I want creating active, and there it is. I jump over to the Photoshop button. I can now, you can see this is the page that's currently active in Photoshop. I just choose Create New Page. Just give it a little time again. It's looking through all of the many layers within that Photoshop document. It's seeing what elements are shape layers, what elements are image layers, what elements are text, because it's going to bring all of that in as live CSS code and styling. And it will also check to see if there's any fonts that need replacing. Now, I've actually used some web fonts that are already within the system. So, but if you use fonts within your design, within your Photoshop document that aren't standard web fonts or aren't typekit web fonts, it would prompt you at that point to choose a replacement font for that. That's really nice. The other really nice thing is that you can do an asset sync with Photoshop, so that if you do make changes to these assets, once you've already created this project, if you've got it turned on, then automatically these assets will be updated within the Edge Reflow project as well. So really, really great new workflows there, super fast performance. I did a live test with a real life client who was creating multiple email templates for transactional and newsletter output. And we actually worked out that across his project, he would save over an entire day just in exporting image assets by using the new generator engine. So again, if you want to show that video to your clients, I can share that with you. And the website is creativesneaks.com. If you look under the tutorials tab in there or under latest sneaks, there's a lot of videos there, and I can share them with you, Luke, as well via the YouTube channel. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to quickly show you within Photoshop is a feature that's newly coming in. If I just close down some of these pages here. And this is something called perspective warp. So Photoshop's used an awful lot for compositing different images together, combinations of graphics and photographic images and vector shapes, etc. And in the past, it's been very difficult to combine shots. You can see this train here, the perspective is totally off compared to the background image. So we have a new tool called Perspective Warp. It's worth just taking note that we've got really great non-destructive workflows as well within Photoshop. If you right-click on an element and convert it into a smart object, what that will mean is that the filters that are then applied to it and the effects that you then apply to it will remain constantly editable, and the element within Photoshop will remain untouched. It kind of puts a protective casing around it. And that's really great because it means that you can experiment more and you can go back and make changes if you've decided that you've done something you don't like at a later stage. So really great for our users to be able to work in that way. The other thing that you can also now do is to place a linked object from within Photoshop. This is kind of similar to how InDesign works. So instead of actually bringing in a 100 meg file and therefore embedding it within Photoshop and therefore increasing the size of the Photoshop document by that amount, you can actually bring in a linked graphic or Illustrator file or something like that, and it will just link but not affect and not make changes to the original element. So that's just worth taking note of as well. So if I select this element here, which is the train on top of the track, and I come into File, Edit, Perspective Warp, I've got two different modes here. I've got Layout and Warp. And all I need to do is to draw a plane around the two different planes that we've got on the train. So I want to draw one here across the front of the train. Make sure I've got that all lined up and covered. So I think that's looking pretty good for the front plane. And then I draw the second plane. I can draw it anywhere, but it's automatic. Bring that up again, sorry. And if I just draw this one, she'll cover the back end. You can see it's automatically snapped to that section of the train. And let's just take in to there. And we'll bring this down, make sure this is lined up correctly. Something like that. Because this is a smart object already, you can see here it's now been added as a smart filter. So if I decide that this isn't quite right, I can make changes to that, that's no problem. And then all I need to do is switch into warp mode, and that then allows me to take this train and to reposition it and to sit it down on the tracks as it should be. I can do all sorts of things here with it, but I want to keep it looking as realistic as possible. So there we go. I can actually take it in there without distorting it and make it look like it really is part of that image. The other thing that you can do is actually if I come into the smart filters on this shot here, and double click on the perspective warp, you can see I've added some planes around this particular photo here. already. If I come into warp mode, you can actually change the position that the shot was taken in as well, so you can completely change the camera position of an image. So really, really great stuff to work with. And you saw that this element here is now, it's done some clever content aware filling in here, because if we come back to the original layout mode, you'll see that actually there isn't any information about that section of the shot in here. And so it's actually done some very, very clever work in creating some more background for me. So that's the perspective warp. One final thing that I wanted to show you just very briefly in Edge Animate, and some of you may be aware of Edge Animate already. This is part of our Edge tools and services. Again, these are unique to the Creative Cloud, and you have all different tools now broken out and taken into pieces as very, very lightweight and really focused tools for both designers and developers to work with. Edge Animate is our keyframe-based animation program that allows you to create animations without writing any code. You've got code snippets in here which will create the JavaScript for you that you need. You can apply that to the timeline as well as elements within the timeline. And you can create some really, really incredible effects. I haven't created anything incredible here, but I've created something very quickly using the assets from Photoshop, and more talented people can do really amazing things in these. But just to show you that we now have audio support within Edge Animate, something that which we've been working on for some time now, and it's been in big demand from our users. So you basically add the audio files, you just import them, and they'll appear on your elements panel here and your timeline, and then you set them playing at various different points, and you can add in a play from command or a play command which will automatically add from the start. You can pause it as well. You can also animate fading out the audio level for these clips. So you've got quite nice flexibility with that. So let's just take a look at the train in action. This is following a motion path with some audio added to it, and it's my big finish. Okay, brilliant. That took about 3 minutes to do. So just to give you an idea and to show you that we've got audio capabilities. I think that's enough from me. So Luke, I will hand back over to you, and we can probably take some questions.
Okay, so we've had one come through that says, will CS6 be available under CLP? So I'm just going to pass over to Luke for that one.
CS6 is still available to be purchased under CLP. There is a roadmap to completely strip the creative products away from CLP. That did happen in France last year on the 1st of November, and as a pilot. So they are looking to the rest of Europe. So shortly, the only way to get the latest version will be only via Creative Cloud.
Okay, thank you. And there's one here from Stephen who says, do you have to take the full package for Acrobat?
For Acrobat Pro, at the moment it's only included within the complete suite. Acrobat Pro in its own pure right is still available to be purchased via CLP. It's not as a single application currently. As I said previously, there is a roadmap for that also to be introduced to a subscription model in its own right. We will let our customers know as soon as we get any sort of roadmap when that's going to happen, but at the moment there's no set date.
Okay, and there's another question here from Chris who says, if an app is installed on a PC for over 30 days with no contact to the web, what happens? Will it disable or uninstall?
Yeah, I can take that one. If it's been offline for over 30 days, it will prompt for a user ID, an Adobe ID, which is how it authenticates. If it doesn't get that, the user can actually be offline for up to 99 days. Once that 99 days is hit and it has no authentication, then the application won't work. It'll still be installed on the desktop machine. However, they won't be able to use the functionality of, say, Photoshop, for example.
Okay, and a question here from Craig who says, from a licensing perspective, does it matter if a Mac or PC is used for each subscription? For example, do they need to only use a Mac if it was first used on a Mac?
Nope. Under Creative Cloud for Teams, you're licensed for both. And you're licensed to install it on 2 machines. So you can be licensed for, you can install it on a desktop PC and at a desktop Mac, or 2 Macs or 2 Windows. You're licensed for both.
Okay, and Stephen says, will the recording be available to watch? Yes, we will send a copy of the link to the recording out to you afterwards so that you can watch that back or pass that on. Stephen has asked, if using old Mac fonts, will they work when you open the document on a PC?
I'll pass that over to Iona. She's available.
I would think they would need to be installed, and you would have to choose an alternative font for that.
Okay, thank you very much. So if you have got any other questions, that's all the questions at the moment. If you have got any other questions, then please do submit them now, or if it's a kind of more detailed information that you want, you can either pop that in the critique form at the end, or you can email tellmemore@bytes.co.uk. I'm just going to quickly hand over to Luke just before we wrap up.
I just wanted to quickly say, if you do want a demo of the Creative Cloud Packager tool, which I explained, and the admin portal, then just get in touch and I can easily set up a personal webinar for yourselves just to run through that, how that works. So if you do want that, then just get in touch with us.
We've also got videos for the Packager tool, walkthroughs and demos for the Packager tool and admin tool that you can share with your customers as well. So Luke, I'll make sure that you have that. And you're welcome to embed that content as well within your own site. And I've also got additional videos, demos, like I say, that you're able to share with your customers via creativesneaks.com. So if you take a look at that, you'll be able to access those videos on the YouTube channel as well, which is Creative Sneak. And you can embed that content, like I say, for overviews of the Creative Cloud for Team and also various different products within that offering.
Okay, lovely. Well, that's all of the questions. So thank you very much to Iona for presenting for us today. Thank you for joining us as well. And if you have got any questions, then please do let us know. So thank you very much.
Thank you.